Well, hello, my lovely Cappys, my Capricorn people. This is your monthly forecast for the month of May 2016. Welcome and thanks for joining me. Briefly, before we get started on your monthly horoscope, this is just a reminder that this is a general forecast for anybody who was born with the sun, the moon, or their rising or ascendant sign in the sign of Capricorn. But if you would like me to take a personalized view of your unique chart, okay, that's only unique to you, any type of situation you have going on in life, I would love to do so and to help you out. My email address is in the description box, and that is how you can contact me for the information of how to schedule and pay for a reading. All right, well, now let's get started on your general forecast for May. So, my Cappies, the biggest focuses for you this month are going to be your romantic pursuits. Yay, right? Your children, if you own your own business, and also your work environment, and also your ways that you maintain a balance between work and taking care of yourself and time out for yourself, which I know is hard for my Cappies to do, right? But we will get into that in just a moment. Now, first, I want to focus on the activation of your fifth house this month because the sign of Taurus is in the fifth house for my Capricorn people. What this means is the fifth house is the house of, it's like childlike fun, which I know my Cappies, generally speaking, don't really get too much into, but it's also your children if you have children. And it's also if you own your own business, like a business that you started up from scratch, and it's something that is close to your heart and that you are passionate about. It's also casual romantic dating if that's something that you're into, and as well as any type of creative projects or creativity or hobbies or activities that you're involved in. Woo, right? So pretty much if you're into the chakras, the fifth house corresponds with the heart chakra. All right. On the zodiac wheel, it corresponds with the fifth sign, which is Leo. So with all that being said, my Cappies, you're going to be like really lively this month, actually, because we have the sun there. And then we have a new moon happening on the 6th. The sun's going to be there until the 20th, okay? The new moon happens on the 6th, and then we have Venus there till the 24th. And we have Mercury retrograde in this house the whole month of May. Mercury will go forward and stop moving backwards on the 22nd of May. However, it's still going to be within its shadow period until about the first or second week of June. And what this means is it's still coming out of its retrograde period. It's still trying to get back into its regular orbit of moving forward. So even when people are like, Mercury's direct on the 22nd, yay, okay, well, you still have some Mercury retrograde leftover things to deal with until it comes out of its shadow period in June. So just keep that in mind, okay? So what this means for all of my Capricorn people is, well, let's start out with the sun, what the sun is up to. The sun is like a big flashlight or a spotlight, right? So it puts a big spotlight on whatever area of life it's traveling through for you. And for you, it is all of those things I mentioned of the fifth house. So my Cappies, pretty much generally speaking, overall, if you have your own business, you're going to probably get more business. Or it's an opportunity to put your business out there in a creative way. Or if you have kids, maybe it's some time that your kids need more of your attention. Especially because Mercury is also retrograde there, and retro means going back over things. Mercury retrograde can bring issues back to the surface, just honestly speaking, that have to do with your kids or your business. Maybe you need to restructure, which Capricorns are really good at doing, and revamp something within your business, like a website or something creative, a creative way to advertise your business. Create more creative ways to spend time with your kids. Maybe your kids, you need to go over the activities that they're involved in. Or this is the time of year where a lot of kids are finishing school and maybe enrolling in school for the next year. So you may need to put extra emphasis on that. And I know, everybody in the general population may be having to deal with that. Yes, I understand. But it may be just a little bit more of a focus for Capricorns, or maybe there might be some more challenges to come up for my Capricorn people because your fifth house is like highly activated. The fifth house can also rule casual dating, romantic partnerships. And with Mercury retrograde there, it can bring some of them back from the past. And I know my Capricorns, generally speaking about you guys, you're not ones to play games with people. And once you're done with somebody, it's like, I'm completely done. Like, I don't play games, right? I move on with my life and try to reach higher and better. So it can bring old lovers back from the past. And it's up to you whether or not you want to really rekindle something. I don't recommend it with all this retro activity going on. But just letting you know that they may try to contact you. Maybe some old hobby that you had in the past and that you kind of let go of. Maybe that might be brought back up again to the surface for you to say, hey, you know what? I kind of miss doing this fun hobby or activity, and I'm going to go after and pursue it again, just to enjoy myself. Now, mind you, when the retrograde is over and all the energy shifts into your sixth house of work, you may cut those hobbies off and be like, you know what? I just don't have the time anymore. But, for the time being, it can be a fun throwback activity to get back into one of them again. Venus is in your fifth house for this month too, up until the 24th. And Venus in the fifth house, it's in the house of the heart. So anything that really gets your heart pumping and going and get butterflies in your stomach, even though my Cappys are normally like stone-faced about things, you can be really happy and excited this month, Capricorn. So just allow yourself to enjoy some childlike fun and activities, whether it's with friends or your kids, or if you have somebody that you casually date, or even not casually dating, but like a partner that you're already with. This is a time to have some really good childlike fun and just loosen up a little bit and get your heart going and just just filled with joy and just enjoy life and the fruits of your hard work and labor. Once we get to the 20th and the 24th of the month, playtime is almost over, Capricorn, because the sun is going to move into Gemini, which is your sixth house of work, and Venus will move there too. So a few things that can happen. If you are trying to get into shape, which, some of my Cappys may be trying to do, because Pluto is retrograde in your first house. And the first house is the house of the body itself. Pluto is all about transformation, okay? And with it going retrograde, you can't be going back and saying, you know what? I want to start going to the gym again, okay? I want to really start transforming my body again. When the Sun and Venus move into the sixth house towards the end of the month, it's a great time to start doing those things again. And they're very positive and supportive energies. And that reminds me, one thing I forgot to mention, Mercury is in retrograde. Hello. Is the new moon that's happening on the 6th of the month in the sign of Taurus. This is your fifth house. The new moon is being supported positively by Pluto, which is in your first house, and by Jupiter, which is in your ninth house. That means all your fire houses are activated, and fire represents action and initiative and drive. So the new moon brings new beginnings. You can begin a new dating relationship. You can have a new beginning with your children, or you can take up a new hobby that's very action oriented that can lead you to, bettering your health and bettering the shape of your body. So that's something that can happen around the new moon for my Capricorn people. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next big focus for my Capricorn people is going to be, so back to the sixth house of health. Sorry for jumping around, Capricorn. Mercury retrograde is like crazy right now. Okay. But anyway, during the time that the energy shifts to your sixth house, this can be the time, if you're looking for a new job, to actually get a new job or to start applying, because the Sun and Venus are positive energies, and you can just be shining like a superstar in these interviews and impressing them with your pedigree and your degrees and your resume and your experience. So great supportive energy for that if you're looking for work. Or if you have your own business, it can bring more clients to you and more work, which can in return create more revenue. And my Capricorns are generally speaking very hardworking people, so you don't mind this energy shift at all. Okay, so now we're going to talk about your 12th house. Mars and Saturn are there, and there's a full moon happening there in conjunction with Mars on the 22nd of May. So let me explain. Okay. Mars and Saturn are retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the sign right before yours. So that is your 12th house of how you rest and relax and retreat from the world, and how you reflect on your life and how you reflect on everything. Mars and Saturn there, especially retrograde, it can actually slow down your drive because Saturn is your ruling planet. And Mars is a planet of action and drive in general. So if they're in this 12th house, which is like really deep water, it's like they both have sunken underneath the ocean and they're going retrograde. So it can be kind of hard to get that pep in your step, and hard to move and like get things initiated and get things going. While we have the energy of your 5th house, your fire house is activated at the same time. It can definitely help to balance things out to where, yeah, you do relax and you retreat away from the world and you take some time out for yourself from working hard, but you still have some sort of initiative and drive towards getting things started and getting things accomplished. So I know it's tough, especially with Saturn there, and Saturn is like Capricorn, okay? Saturn is hard work and dedication, what you guys represent. And if he's like kind of stuck, it's like you might feel stuck with your life. But don't fret and don't worry, because Jupiter is going to start moving forward after the 9th of May. And Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo, which is your 9th house of opportunity. Jupiter and the 9th house represent very similar things. It's going after your big goals in life without fear, without anything holding you back, okay? So even though we have your ruling planet and your drive and action kind of going backwards and going underwater and making you feel stuck, Jupiter is going to help you out a little bit with moving forward with your big goals and plans, okay? So there is a push and pull and everything going on, but there are some energies that can help kind of balance things out for you at the same time. As I mentioned, the full moon is in Sagittarius on the 22nd, and it's in conjunction with Mars. So the full moon in the 12th house, it can be a very like deep psychological house where you go back really deep in the subconscious, and it can pull things out from like way back, okay? It can even be, I know a lot of my Cappys are not firm believers and stuff like this, but it can even be like some messages from beyond, like from your ancestors or people who have passed on. So they can come to you in dreams and give you some sort of inspiration to take some action, okay? So just really pay attention to your dreams around the full moon. But I would say it's calling you to pay attention to how you balance out relaxing and working, but still make some decisions that are great for your health to be able to move forward with, like, taking care of yourself and exercising and what have you. The last thing I wanted to mention is Mars is going to move back in the sign of Scorpio after the 26th of May. Mars will be retrograde in Scorpio until June 29th, and then it's still going to be going forward in Scorpio up until August 2nd. So what does this mean for Capricorns? Well, it's going to go from your 12th house back into your 11th house of groups and friendships and groups of like-minded people, maybe some organizations that you may belong to. So Mars retrograde, Mars is very aggressive, right? And when he's retrograde, it's kind of like he can turn things inward, okay? So like he can bring things to you, like bring conflict to you. And if it's highlighting your house of groups, it's hanging out in there, he might bring conflict to you from groups of people. So I would just be aware that that is possible and try to avoid like really getting into spats and debates and conflicts with others within groups. Have all this fire activity being highlighted for most of the month. It may cause you to get kind of fired up at times, but don't take it out on your friends, okay? Remember, through the summer, you may attract more conflict, but just be your cool, calm, collected Capricorn self and look down upon petty little arguments and stuff and say, I'm not going to get involved because I'm too mature for this. All right, my Cappies, well, that wraps up your month of May 2016. I really hope this was insightful or helpful for you in some sort of way. So don't forget to subscribe if you would like to continue to receive your generalized monthly forecast. If you would like anything personal, remember, shoot me an email and we can hook something up. All right, well, take care of yourselves. I will see you guys in the month of June. Love you guys. Mwah.